Devonta Smith, 3-star. Steve has decommitted. Did that seem to be expected, number one? Number two, a situation in which he's saying, I'm not coming to Ohio State, or just I am back testing the waters?
Well, I think Alabama played a part in this, that they offered him before Ohio State did, it appears, back in February. And then he was offered by Ohio State in mid-March and committed within 3 or 4 days after he got that offer. And Alabama never backed down. They continued to stay right with Devonta Smith and tried to continue to recruit him remotely, as all you could do at this point. No visits either for the coaches out to see the players or the players to come to campus, obviously, during the pandemic. Ohio State was not caught sleeping at all in this. And, they didn't really push Smith out or encourage him to leave. They talked to him quite a bit about staying with Ohio State, even as Alabama was trying to ratchet up the pressure a little bit. They've got 5 other defensive back commitments in this class besides him. And they're still trying to get Derek Davis, a safety from Pennsylvania, and Jordan Hancock, a cornerback, out of his Clemson commitment. So, there's a thought that maybe they will land one of those other guys. And you didn't hear me say this, a little higher ranked perhaps than Smith, who was, I think, by 24/7 composite number 400 nationally, in that range somewhere. So I think it's just a case of, he had the option with Alabama, and I don't know that there's any great intrigue to this, other than maybe he thinks things look more favorable for him to get a chance to play at Alabama than in this logjam of defensive backs at Ohio State.
I think about a month ago, maybe a little more than a month ago, we did hear some whispers that a player was kind of feeling a little antsy about his position at Ohio State. And I think those of us who connected the dots knew it was Devonta Smith at that point. And, if Devonta Smith didn't cool on Ohio State, he would end up at Ohio State. Ohio State in no way, shape, or form forced him out or anything like that. There are a lot of times that on social media we'll see guys, well, we didn't want him anyway. No, Ohio State wanted him. But when Devonta Smith really kind of started to up it and saying, I'm thinking I want to reopen it, Ohio State's like, well, you got to do what's right for you. You don't want to keep a player locked into a commitment until November, only to have him back out at that point, and then you don't really know what your true numbers are at that point. So, I think both sides handled this the right way or whatnot, and Devonta now probably is going to end up in Tuscaloosa. That's a hell of a silver medal to end up at Alabama as your backup choice. And, and I don't even want to necessarily frame it in that way, shape, or form. But, so now Ohio State kind of knows where it stands at the position and is certainly going to go after the names Steve mentioned with Derek Davis and Jordan Hancock. And there's some other names out there that they could kick the tires. Something that's interesting is we don't have the camps, so there are not really any camp offers out there. So what happens come September, as long as we have a high school football season as planned, and for these kids that blow up? I think a lot of programs should keep 1 or 2 spots saved just in case for those late risers, because, and we've talked about on this show before, the Terry McLaurins and the Darren Lees of the world, they weren't on the board that we were talking about in May and June of their going into their senior seasons. They were camp offers or later offers. And, I think that there's going to be something to be said about maybe holding a spot or 2 back.
And when you consider the number of corners that Ohio State is going to recruit, you can understand maybe why one guy feels like maybe you're not getting enough love, or they're trying to recruit too many players at your position. But this is an Ohio State defense with a coach in Kerry Combs who likes to play 3 corners, and that's not including the slot corner position that is now part of the defense. So you're looking at a defense that could have 4 corners on the field throughout the first quarter of a game. And they haven't had great success of late in the recruiting those corners. They've missed out on some guys and only had brought in 2 last year. So they've got to continue to build up those numbers, and they're still going to be going out looking for more corners. And if you're kind of wishy-washy on competition, I don't know if going to Alabama is the place where a corner is going to find it easy, just as he wouldn't find it easy at Ohio State. But, you do what you got to do for yourself. Ohio State's secondary class right now, I mean, they're versatile. I don't know how many true corners they have other than Ja'Kalen Johnson and I guess Denzel Burke. Jalen, and Jalen Johnson, maybe a safety, maybe a linebacker. Andre Turrentine, maybe a corner, probably a safety. And Jensen Dunn looks remarkable as a guy who's an athletic free safety type, but maybe is athletic enough to be a corner because he's big and tall as well. But you're still going to need to bring in more because not everybody's going to pan out. Not everybody works out. They may, you may lose a guy after 3 seasons. The way like Marshawn Lattimore had one good season and it was gone. Eli Apple, like one, good season after his redshirt freshman year and is gone. So you just got to keep bringing these guys in because if they don't work out at corner, you put them at safety.
Right. But then you look at their last class. I mean, remember, they got Cameron Martinez, who's going to be, as something just fell off my desk because of the cat. You got Cameron Martinez, who a lot of people sit there and wanted to see on offense, and Northwestern and some other schools, recruited him on offense. Ohio State's going to put him. He's going to get a look on both sides of the ball, but I think corner is going to be a position there. Got Legend Cavazos, who probably is a safety, but I think he's going to get his first look at corner. And then obviously you have Ryan Watt. So the corner room is a little thin when you lose Sean Wade and Marcus Williamson after this season. And then, what happens if a Seven Banks or Cameron Brown blows up this year and is gone after 3? You really need to keep hammering that position. And, if there's a position that Ohio State shouldn't struggle at recruiting right now, it's going to be cornerback based on everything that BIA has been able to do.